Software Spotlight, your front row seat to the latest innovations in software for small business. I'm Michael Burnswag, your host, and each week we are joined by executives at leading software companies to get an insider's perspective on the emerging technologies, business strategies, and market trends shaping the future. Tune in to stay ahead of the curve on leveraging software to boost productivity and growth in your business. Be sure to visit our website, softwareoasis.com, to access our free weekly software newsletter and sign up for our upcoming 2024 software webinar series. Today, we're joined by Tom Amitay. He's the CEO and co founder of Entail AI, a cutting edge AI powered marketing platform that helps businesses generate targeted organic traffic at scale. With years of experience in building online growth automation systems, Tom and his team have developed a comprehensive solution that streamlines the entire content and SEO process, from identifying customer interests to creating expert content and optimizing it for search engines. So, with that, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Michael. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. No,
Yeah.
we really appreciate your taking the time out to join us on the Software Spotlight today. And I know a lot of our listeners have been following the solution, and clearly, Google has turned the world upside down on its head over the last few months, and I
Mhm.
think a big portion of where everyone is heading is where Google is heading. So I think SEO and the whole strategy is very different than when I started back in 1998. So I was hoping you could give us a bit of background on yourself, your solution, and what you're seeing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, about Google, yeah, it definitely changed a lot since '98. I mean, they've been a monopoly, and they want to stay one. And most of the changes that we see out of them are due to two reasons. One of them is obviously ChatGPT that have forced them to move out of their comfort zone. Being a monopoly, they didn't really have to change anything in their business model for a while, and ChatGPT is
Yes.
forcing them to do it. But there's another company that I think poses a bigger threat on Google than ChatGPT, and that's TikTok. And it's social media in general, but it's mostly TikTok and short videos are now taking away so much traffic and becoming the place where people go to search, especially the young generation. They go to search for information more and more on TikTok rather than Google. So that's a bigger threat. I mean, it's a threat at the level that the US Congress deals with, right?
Yes.
um, so these two big changes, big companies have forced Google to change, and most of the changes that we see them in the form of algorithm changes and UI changes, i.e., Bar, Gemini, search generative experience, um, but they're mostly because of these two big companies. Um, so just to follow up on what you mentioned, and a little bit background about myself. I've been, as you said, I've been in marketing automation for over a decade. Started my previous company where we were building a solution for ride sharing. It was like pre Uber. So when we were talking about ride sharing, it was like real ride sharing, not a different form of taxi. It was more similar to carpooling. And the challenges there were two challenges. One of them was that there wasn't money in that. That's a challenge that kills a business. But another challenge was that we needed to create critical mass of a lot of people at the same time at the same place, and that forced us to build solutions for marketing automation. So there was no money there, and we needed to bring a lot of people. So we did marketing with developers, so not to spend you know budget on paid advertising. And so we built a lot of like really cool marketing automation solutions. We reached hundreds of thousands of people per day. But as I said, there was no money in that, and at the same time, we realized that most companies don't build their own marketing tech. They just use Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Meta. They use existing platforms, and then we said, okay, so the marketing automation is the platform, is the product, and that's how we started Intel AI as a tech marketing platform that enables companies to maximize their revenue from organic channels, i.e., search and social media.
Yeah, and at a very interesting level, I think with all of the, let's face it, when Google started, it was a directory and it was a search box on a screen, and there was no advertising, there was no AI. It was a very uncluttered experience. And if
Hmm.
you look at the first page of Google for any result now, you won't even see your results until way down the page. So there's obviously a lot going on, and there's a lot more involved in strategically getting your organization to the top of the
Yeah,
results.
yeah,
So, something very interesting and a big strategy for a lot of companies, as well as Software Oasis. Our focus is on driving subscriptions for B2B SaaS. So at the end of the day, many of the companies that we work with, we'll bid on their own keywords, and let's face it, a partner bidding on your company's keywords does not add a whole lot of value. The only thing it does is drive up your costs. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, I think it really leaves the largest opportunity for content creators and influencers and the like to generate natural search results to drive organic traffic. And really,
hmm,
what your solution, I think, answers that question very, very nicely. So
yeah,
can you tell me what is it that you saw in the market, and or what is it that you see in the market that's you know helping you to identify this need, and how does the solution fill that gap?
yeah. So it's a great question. I mean, we're talking about organic marketing, and it's a term that companies don't often use. They when they speak about marketing, email marketing, content marketing, etc. We speak about organic, and the reason we call it that is when we analyze the market, we see we, in marketing you want to analyze where attention is at. Okay, you want to target people's attention, your target audience's attention. And as I said, Google has been a monopoly for 20 years, over 20 years. And Google has been, you know, Google has been receiving 10x the amount of traffic of all social media combined. That's search. It doesn't mean that the time you spend on Google is as long as you spend on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, but the number of times you go through Google every day, the number of visits, the number of page views is much higher than any other platform. But now social media, like I said, with video, especially short videos, social media is starting to take more and more of that attention. Um, and the situation is that companies are really struggling to get that attention, because when you look at really the situation is that individuals are getting the most of the attention on social media. Okay, what's happening is that content creation has become much easier. The editing software has become much more advanced, and the real change that AI is bringing, what you see on the ground, is that individuals can now film themselves in their car on the way to work, edit it quickly with a free software like CapCut, upload it to YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, wherever, and get tons of views. We call these people influencers. So influencers are dominating. They're getting all the attention. Of course, you may follow your friends and family and so on, but when you speak about content that's relevant to businesses, if you're selling online therapy, so content like therapist content, if you're selling dating apps, so content about relationships and so on, this type of content and the views on topics that are related to these types of content and businesses, I mean, the views mostly go to influencers, and businesses are struggling to compete. So they can either keep on spending money on paid channels, like PPC, Meta, etc. But acquisition costs are on the rise, so it's very challenging for them. Or they can buy attention from influencers, and this is also super expensive, very difficult to measure, very difficult to predict. And if businesses want to create content to compete with influencers, it's super difficult for them, because to compete with influencers, you have to have the expertise, You have to have the charisma, the time, and so on. And influencers can just do it on their own for free. They spend nothing but their time. They have their charisma and their expertise. And the people in the business that can potentially create content at the same level as influencers are the executives. And their time is too expensive. They have too many things to manage. So the ROI on that type of content would be very, very negative. Okay. So it's very difficult for businesses today in marketing. The market is saturated. You want to get above the noise, you want to stand out, and you do it only through paid channels right now. And when you want to build your business like an influencer to get traffic from organic channels like social media and search, which is where most of the attention is, you're struggling. You're
And
very
I
struggling to
agree
get
with
the
you.
traffic.
Check, check,
Yeah,
check on everything you
yeah.
just said. So what
Mhm.
is the solution? What's the answer?
So the answer, I just want to mention a few other problems on the way before we get
Sure.
to the answer, because it is more complicated than that. It also makes selling it a bit more complicated because it is a complicated problem. So one is, first of all, identifying that this is the main issue, that the attention is on social, on organic channels, and companies find it very difficult to rank there or to get traffic from there. Then you have a big challenge of how to create the content, how to make sure the content ranks or drives traffic, and then eventually how do you convert this traffic into sales. And it in order to solve that, you need so many different people with so many from so many different disciplines and skills. And so you need a very large team, and so small businesses, they can't really compete unless you have like, so to speak, a content freak within your company. Unless the company is built around an influencer or a person who is really good with content. It happens, maybe 1% of the companies. So
Right.
unless you have that these people within the company, it's very, very challenging. So the solution that we've developed is a platform that's basically divided into three parts. One part is our text content CMS. So CMS is content management software. This solves everything from strategy to expert content creation to publishing the content and also ranking on like solving all the on-page SEO. So it's your entire content and SEO process out of the box. Okay, it solves this entire thing from start to finish. Then we have another platform which is the video CMS. So it solves everything that you need to create content for social media, your videos that you need to create. And we're talking about videos that look and feel like influencer or like organic videos, not paid, not advertisement videos, but really organic, authentic, human experience videos. And then
Okay.
the last part of the platform is how you convert. So the first two parts is you want to create content in order to drive traffic, in order to get your audience's attention and drive traffic to your website. Once you do, you want to convert the traffic. And this traffic can come from different channels onto different pages, different topics, because you're creating a lot of content. And so it's very difficult to convert it. It's difficult to measure, and it's difficult to optimize for conversions because you're talking about multiple pages. It's not something that you do with analytics, with Google Analytics or Mixpanel. It's across many different pages. So the third part of the platform, we started with the video CMS and the article CMS. Then we have the conversion rate optimization software that identifies the intent of every user coming to the website and shows this user basically the next step in its journey towards conversion. Okay, so
Okay.
it may be another article to learn more if you're more like a B2B business, or it may be a product if you're ready to buy, or to download the guide, or to book a demo, really depending on the website and how this website, what are the marketing goals of this website. Okay, so the CRO, the conversion rate optimization software, helps navigate the user journey towards conversion.
So talk to me about that first part because I noticed that you didn't say just generating random AI content.
Yeah,
I noticed that the type of content that you're
that's
talking about creating sounds a little bit different than that. So can you
yeah.
expand upon the
Yeah,
the
so I
level
can
of
talk about this
trust
for a
and
few days actually,
I know, I know.
just to summarize that, everybody now is into AI this and AI that, and you see, just type, go Google, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you want, marketing AI, and you'll see like tons of people telling you about the prompt that's going to change your life. So, I mean, spoiler alert, Prompts aren't going to change your life. Okay, they're not going to make your business successful. If you can write a prompt, I can write a prompt, and a million other people can write prompts. So it's not the right way to stand out. In marketing, you're fighting for attention. You're competing for attention, and in order to get attention, you need to stand out. So you're not going to stand out by doing more of the same, by doing what everybody else is doing. You need to do something different. That's why almost everything we do at Intel goes against the grain. Also, the way we create content. We don't generate content with AI. And I want to make a statement here in saying if you're generating content with AI for organic purposes, not for paid ads and so on, but for organic purposes, then you can stop. There's no need for that content. If you can generate that content with AI, there's no need to take that content and publish it on your website so that Google will index it and show it to people to search. They can get this content directly from ChatGPT or from Gemini or Bard or whatever you call that. Okay. So you can get that content elsewhere. There's no reason to index that. And these are the changes that we're seeing in Google because they fight this phenomenon. Okay. So no need to generate content with AI. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't use AI or that there aren't ways to use AI. The way we do it is we create all of our content with experts. So we're using AI to generate content strategy to know what topics to target. What is the value of every topic? So what we do, we take this the complexity of SEO and we reduce it into one number. For every topic, we map all the relevant topics for your business and we reduce SEO into one number that signifies the value of each topic. So if you got if you targeted a specific topic and you got traffic from this topic to your website, how many sales could you generate from that topic? And this signifies this, and the value signifies that. So once you have the topic, we have experts. So we create content that's based on unique perspectives and personal experience and expertise. So really human and authentic content, whether it's articles or videos, human first content. And then we use AI to edit it, to make the editing process, to streamline the editing process, to make it quicker, simpler, cheaper, etc. But the content itself is the same as the content that you care about and that you want to listen and that you want to watch or read. It's based on the human experience, on personal experience, perspectives, and expertise. So that's the type of content we create.
So, can you talk a little bit about the experts and the strategy of the marketplace and how all of that comes together?
Yeah, sure. So what we've realized, I mean, we've been in the market for a while, and with all the changes with ChatGPT, we were quite obsessed with understanding where the market is going. What's really the shift? Where is it going, and what does it mean for businesses, for Google, for traffic coming from Google, for social media, and so on. And what we've realized is like I said, that people care mostly about about the information that other people have to share. So we're talking about the context of businesses, right? So most businesses aren't Netflix. They're not creating content for entertainment. And the businesses that we work with create content that doesn't have where people don't take their clothes off. So you understand we're creating legit content.
Right.
And most businesses, unless they're fashion, where most of the content is based on models, okay, it's visual models, you know, wearing clothes, looking good, and so on. For most businesses that aren't fashion, the content that they need to create is content that supports users in their consideration process when they consider whether to buy a product or when they discover your product. So discovery and consideration processes. So it's mostly informational content. And when you look at informational content, you need to understand what type of content the machine can create now, okay, GPT, AI, etc., and what kind of content is human content. And the content that the machines can create uh, isn't interesting for people to create anymore. Okay, so for example, I often give this example: how to write a Google Sheet formula, an Excel formula. You can Google that and you get many articles, but if you just tell ChatGPT what formula you need, it will create the formula immediately. Copy paste. That's it. You're done. You don't need to go and read an article. So there's no point in creating content that ChatGPT can create better than you, or answering queries that ChatGPT can answer better than you. Okay, so So the question is, what can ChatGPT answer? And it's mostly places where content is, where the topics are more and more structured, like writing formula, translating, um, writing code, etc. But when it comes to the human experience, like I said, unique perspectives, personal experience, personal expertise, AI cannot yet, okay, cannot create that type of content. And that's why most of the content that we consume, and I can quite confidently say it also about most of the people, even though I don't know them, because the evidence is what's happening on social media and what's happening on Google. The content that gets the views, that gets the attention, is authentic content based on the human experience. And if you're talking about what content to create with AI, so you can see, I can share with you examples of people creating content with AI. But when you look at that content, you say, wow, it's not the type of content of just somebody generating an article. It would be maybe a video with special effects that you won't be able to create. So a very good example to understand that, it's, as I know, if you've ever um, watched this video of the, the early days of Pink Floyd, and
Yes,
they were,
actually.
pioneers in creating digital music. And there was an interview, I forgot who it was with, from Pink Floyd, and they asked them, I mean, you're creating music with digital instruments, so that's not music anymore. And they said, let's see you create the same music like we can with digital instruments. And of course, I can't. I for sure can't. I don't know about you, but most people can't. And you can still see it today, like 20 years later, or maybe even 30 years. I know, maybe even more. I don't remember Floyd, what year it was. Maybe it was in 60s or 70s, or even further back. Um, where you can see very few people can create digital music as well as Pink Floyd, or the leading digital music artists. So it's
So
kind of
AI
this.
is really just a tool for someone that understands how to use it for
If you can play AI like I don't know, like infected mushroom can play digital instruments, then great, But then you're creating something unique that only
right.
you can create, or very few people can create. If you're just doing something that everyone else can do, it's not interesting. It has no place in marketing. Marketing is about standing out.
So where do the experts come into play with the with your solution?
So again, it has to do a lot with the analysis that we did. So like I
Right.
said, for most businesses need to create content that's informational, educational, that's supposed to inform people and help them with the decision making process,
Okay.
educate them, and also help them with discovery. And most of the knowledge that has to do with that type of information is being held by, I mean, experts have most of this knowledge. Like, for example, if you're talking about online therapy and you want to understand what causes depression, even though these are topics that AI can now answer better and better because it's been documented. But
Right.
if you want to speak about, I don't know, for example, how do how does the younger generation interact today when they're all the time on their phones? So does this create problems for them? Does this create anxiety for them, etc.? So you would probably want to hear the perspective of psychologists that work with kids, and they
Right.
can attest, they can speak from like their first hand experience, having worked with many kids, helped many kids hopefully, about how mobile phones are affecting them. So that type of information and experience and expertise, um, it's owned, or only experts have it. And the idea with working with experts is that in every industry, I just mentioned online therapy, you can find it in almost every industry, from accounting to sports, whatever industry you want that deals with informational topics. You can find experts in every industry. It is it is often challenging to find the right expert, and to find an expert that's also interesting and articulate and so on. But the information is within the expert's mind, and the idea is to take the information from the expert and take it and turn it into interesting content. So that's where you can use AI, but the source must not be AI itself. Otherwise, there's going to be model collapse where AI feeds on itself. There's nothing. There's no blood coming in. It's a form of incest,
Sure.
you could say. Okay, um, as opposed to bringing in new knowledge, new experiences from experts in every different industry, in every different field.
So once companies have that expert knowledge and interview and they're turning it into content, you mentioned earlier in our conversation the volume of traffic that Google has that just dwarfs
Hmm.
any other platform out there.
Hmm.
Um, what are the biggest challenges to Google in terms of that volume, and where do you see Google heading in the future to overcome the challenges?
So, I mean, first of all, we're seeing the changes already today. Like I said, Google has competition from two ends of the spectrum. One end is ChatGPT, the other end is TikTok. In my opinion, TikTok is a bigger threat to Google than ChatGPT. ChatGPT, in my opinion, has a slightly different role than a search engine, but it is also forcing Google to change, and we're going to see these changes happening. So, from the ChatGPT side, from the content generation side, um, it's very simple. There's a hyperinflation of content. There's been an inflation of content even before ChatGPT. Since Google, you said Google started in '98. Um, about 20 years ago, companies realized that they can start, or people realized they can start blogging, getting traffic. So that's how blogging started. And blogging already created an inflation of content. But now with AI, there's a hyperinflation of content. Even before that, even before AI, there were like content farms and people buying cheap content from India and Pakistan and the countries where salaries are lower and so on, labor is
Sure.
lower, cheaper. Um, so Google has developed tools to to strive to fight that, to combat that. So, for example, if you go into Google Search Console and you go into your pages report, and you'll see a lot of pages on every website. You'll see pages under two statuses: crawled, currently not indexed, or discovered, currently not indexed. And these are statuses that Google has invented, I know how many years ago, to deal with thin content, with duplicate content that's not interesting. So Google has created tools to deal with content inflation long before ChatGPT was invented. So they know how to deal with bad content, and they must, because if they show in the results bad content that was just generated with AI, that doesn't bring any new aspect, that's basically not interesting enough, so that the search results aren't it would mean that the search results aren't good enough, and then people will stop using Google and go to the alternative if the
Right.
results aren't bad. So they must fight this phenomena of cheap content that doesn't add value. Okay, so this, by the way, has resulted in different phenomena where companies now need to invest more in order to create better content. So content creation costs have gone up because of ChatGPT, not down. ChatGPT made content, so that's pretty like contrary to what most people believe.
Right.
But what happened because of ChatGPT is that content creation has become so easy, and so everyone can do it. And if now you want to stand out and you want to get above the noise, you need to invest more in your content, which means that content creation costs have gone up for most businesses. And also means that people need to shift more and more towards video because that's where you can stand out. And
And the
Google,
volume, yeah, the volume
yeah,
of content,
yeah,
being generated and regenerated is just growing exponentially
right,
annually. So clearly, for Google, if you were sitting in their seats, they absolutely need to get their hands around, identifying, which content is unique and adds value to the internet versus which is just
exactly,
a regurgitation of what's already out there. Otherwise, they'll
exactly,
have the same results coming up multiple times,
yeah,
and very interesting. Now, on the other end, you had mentioned TikTok as a major,
hmm
or probably the larger threat to Google. What do you see on that end of things with
So
TikTok?
first of all, I'll say that our prediction is that Google's going to index and show more and more video in their search results. So I mean, you and I are old enough to remember Google Plus. The young generation doesn't necessarily
Right.
remember them,
Their
but Google
first
has
failed
already
attempt at a
tried. Yeah,
social network. Yeah.
exactly. So Google has
Yeah.
already failed at building a solution, a social network. So we can't imagine Google trying to create a social network that competes with TikTok. I mean, they do on YouTube. They have YouTube Shorts,
Shorts,
okay,
right.
which is a different. I mean, if you watch both, you'll see it's a different type of platform, different types of videos, etc. So that's where Google can compete with TikTok. But at the end of the day, Google is a search company, okay? Or I mean, in this context, they do many other things, but there's Google is a search algorithm or a search company. So what they excel at is search. So they're going to. My prediction is that they're going to index more and more social media and show more and more social media in their search results. And there's a guy we work with is the director of SEO at Natural Intelligence, and he's saying that he thinks that Google's going to look more and more like social media, and you can already see it in a way. If you Google, for example, if you Google just an informational search, like weather, you'll see like a weather widget. If you Google, I don't know, like San Francisco, then you'll see images from San Francisco, a map, Wikipedia, some news stories, and so on. If you go like a celebrity, you go Brad Pitt, you'll see like uh, Brad Pitt's movies, and you'll see a search results page that looks very different than just blue links and text. You'll see videos and images there. So we're going to see
Sure.
that more and more. Like Google is gonna have to show more and more video and social media, like human first videos in their search results. And the reason for that is that Google has three principles that they work by. And these principles, when you think about them, are very, very clear. So the first one is that they must provide the best search results in the world on the internet. If somebody else provides better search results, you're going to move to them. You're not married to Google. You're going to drop them and move to another search engine. So they must provide the best search results. The second is they must monetize it. Google built their own machines. Like operating Google is super expensive. They're not like a non-profit company. They must monetize. They're making about 160 billion dollars a year just from search ads. It's a very, very, very profitable, profitable business, and they're not gonna just give that up. So they must monetize. So that's the second principle. The third principle is that in order for Google's model to keep on working, they must send traffic to the publishers, to the content creators. If the search ends at Google and it doesn't continue, it means that the model is broken because Google's model, in a way, is very similar to Instagram. On Instagram, people create, like, share mostly like videos and images. They add some text, but it's mostly videos and images, and they share it on Instagram. If Instagram today decided to use Sora and ChatGPT and generate and Midjourney and generate their own images of their own breakfast or whatever people publish there on Instagram, um, and their own videos and their own text, and our content as people will not be needed there anymore, it would be the end of Instagram. People would not use Instagram just to see what they generate on their own. The entire idea is to see what people are creating, to see other people, and that's equivalent to Google answering all the searches on their own and not sending traffic to the internet. People and companies create content for Instagram for their own benefit. You can argue whether that's beneficial or not for people. Okay, for companies, it is definitely beneficial as long as they can get traffic to their, like, build their brand, etc. But people create content on Instagram for their own benefit. They want to get the views, they want to get the likes, they want to get the traffic, etc. If Instagram now took all of your Instagram content and had the machine learn and generate similar content, and nobody would see your content anymore, you would stop creating content for Instagram. And the same goes to Google. So the third principle is super important, and people often look it over, and it is that Google must send traffic to the publishers, and it's actually a metric that they brag about or that they emphasize, that for like year over year, the traffic that Google sends to publishers, or basically to the entire internet, grows. So they keep on sending traffic to the internet, which means that they cannot just stop the search on Google and not send traffic further. By the way, it will also affect their monetization, because the culture, the behavior on Google is that you search and you click. Okay. And when you see an ad, you click on that ad. And if you didn't click, if you got the result and you didn't click on anything, why would you click on an ad? You would
Right.
stay on Google. So this must stay. Otherwise, the model is broken. People will not create content for Google, because, yeah, all the websites are creating content for Google, like you're creating content for Instagram. You're doing it for yourself, but you're in a way doing it for Instagram or for TikTok or wherever you like to publish. Okay, so people are creating content for Google, which is what SEO is, and they will stop if Google doesn't compensate them. There are, however, instances where Google doesn't send traffic to the internet anymore, where the content can be structured, i.e., a forecast. Okay, Google can get the forecast through an API. They don't need to scrape the internet and get that content. They get it from an API. They pay weather.com, and they show a forecast widget, which means they don't need to send traffic to, like, if you Google, you know, what's the forecast tomorrow in Boston. Um, you don't click on anything. You just see the result on Google. So that's where the search starts and ends on Google. But with most of the other types of searches, they must create that must provide these clicks to the internet.
Makes a lot of sense. And at a high level, how can you give an example of a company that would use your solution? Like what their journey looks like from when they first sign up to get on the Entail platform, all the way through to when their
Mhm.
content is live, and what that journey looks like.
Yeah. So if they're a company that doesn't yet have a significant organic marketing operation, which means like content and SEO. Um, so first of all, like the types of company this applies to, like I said, not companies in fashion, for example, because the type of content there is mostly visual models. It's not informational. So any company that where the product consider like the purchase consideration process requires information, which is most of the companies in health and in sports and fitness and accounting and whatever. Most of the companies are there. So what we do is we generate content strategy for that company, basically identifying what are the topics that are relevant to the company and what is the value of every topic. We find the right experts for every topic. If you're talking about, you know, child behavior, then you find a child behavior specialist. Okay, so for every topic, we find there's a marketplace that we have with experts, and then with these experts, we create content on the platform, and then this content is edited and and it's published directly to the website. We have a plugin that integrates with every website. It's a very simple integration, and it builds content pages directly within the websites. Basically, it's an out of the box SEO solution. You don't need to optimize. You don't need to do on page SEO. Everything like page speed, schema markup, all the buzzwords. It's all included. So it's a plug and play solution. You plug it into your website, and then you do the strategy. You approve the experts. You approve the content. All the content creation process is managed through our CMS, and it's published directly to your website. Very, very simple.
Got it. So is the platform also the website? It's also the CMS. It's also the
Yeah,
front
so you
facing.
can access it through our website. What's also unique about Intel is that not for all the customers, but for most of our customers, we provide also a service and not just the platform itself. What we've realized in the beginning, like I told you, is that many companies don't have all the skills in house. So they may have a marketing manager, but not necessarily like a content marketing manager or SEO people. So we provide the platform with a service so that the company will not have to manage another tool and to bring in new expertise into, like, to hire new people, so that we can fill in the gaps. If you have an SEO person, great. If you don't, we can solve that. If you have a content marketing manager, great. If not, we can solve that. Okay, so we can solve the entire process. If you have no one besides your marketing manager, then we solve the entire process of content creation from start to finish.
Got it. And is the platform a hosted solution, or would someone use it with, let's say, a WordPress website in addition, or
You
how
can,
does it all
so
work?
the platform integrates with any type of website, WordPress, Shopify, custom sites built in React,
Got it.
all the websites from, I know we're working with some companies, their websites are from the dinosaur age,
Yeah.
whatever. So we can integrate with any platform. And what we excel at is building content pages. We're not trying to replace Webflow or WordPress,
Got it.
okay, or
Okay, I
Wix or
understand.
any other platform. Okay, we just solve the content pages. Okay, we're giving companies really publisher capabilities, so they can create content at scale and at the quality as publishers, as if they were publishers. Okay, so they can really streamline the process and put out really great content that resonates with their audience.
Now, on the flip side, you mentioned the video component
Hmm.
to the platform.
Yeah,
Can you expand on that a little bit more? Can you give us an idea of what that process looks like?
yeah, that's actually very interesting. And video, in a way, is video opens the door to like so many different complications because there's like so many different um, aspects to it that text doesn't have. Like how it looks, how it feels. I mean, the people that appear there, and so on, so many different aspects. So the idea with the video CMS, as I said before, is to help companies compete in this landscape where it's individuals creating content. And so it solves everything from identifying and deciding what topics the videos should be about, because there's a big difference between if you just create videos about, I don't know, like political topics that are very trending, but
Right.
will not do anything for your business, even in terms of brand awareness, to topics that are very close to what you're doing, very very relevant, and can drive conversions. So it starts with identifying the relevant topics, finding the people with the right expertise for these videos, because these videos cannot be just like a presenter that doesn't know what they're talking about. That's not going to cut it today, in the environment that you have. Search for almost every topic on TikTok or YouTube, okay, and you'll find videos. For example, like um, exercises for flat feet. You'll find physical therapists showing exercises for flat feet, for people with flat feet. So you can't just create like thin content, like bad content about that. You need to have a physical therapist and orthopedist, like somebody with the authority that can tell you these are the right exercises. Okay, and it's true to almost any other topic like B2B dev topics, how to solve this problem with, I don't know, whatever, any technical topic you can think of, how to prepare for like SOC 2, okay, technical topic. So you can find experts for that. So the idea, just like with the text content, you want to find the experts that can provide the unique perspectives and expertise and the examples of their like unique experience, personal experience, and you want to do it in a video format. And there's different types of formats: short videos, longer videos, case studies, tutorials. So we mapped the like what are we broken down and identified what are the ingredients of every type of video like that. Understanding, so for each business, so if you're a makeup company, so you probably want to do makeup tutorials. So how does a makeup tutorial should look? How should it look like? Okay, um, or if you're a software company, you want to do like software tutorials. So how does that need to look? Or if you're, I don't know, like us, where you want to share a lot of information and expertise. So where do you bring that expertise, and how do you present it? So the platform helps you with selecting the topics, getting the expertise, creating the right script for the video, filming it in the right way, editing it in the right way, collaborating on that, because within companies they need their marketing managers, etc., to be able to collaborate and review the content, comment on the content before it's being published, before it's approved. So really managing the entire process and streamlining it so you can really drive costs down, because video costs are usually much higher than article costs. And if you want to do it at scale, and you do, you need to do it at an affordable price.
So let me talk to you about the one detail you didn't talk about there. So once the content is produced,
Hmm.
what are the pros and cons to putting it out there on all of the platforms that you just mentioned versus putting it out on your own hosted solution? Will the content, if you put a video out on YouTube versus you only make that video available on your own site, will you get the same benefits, more or less in one direction or the other?
So today you need to publish the video content or all your content on as many platforms as possible, because most people use about, I mean, the average is about six platforms per user. So you use LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Google, of course, and I don't know, maybe Pinterest. So you're using different social platforms, not just one. And as a brand, you want to get the exposure. There may be some types of content that you want to show only to your registered users. That's a different story. But
Right.
content for the sake of marketing, of driving brand awareness, of driving conversions, um, needs to be published. You want to reach your audience. Okay, you can do it on X or you can do it on LinkedIn. Doesn't matter where your audience is. You want your content to be there, and more often than not, I think probably in like 99.9999 of the cases, your audience is not just on one platform. They're not just searching on Google. They're not just on Twitter or X, or they're not just on Facebook or Instagram. They're on multiple platforms, and you can reach them on all of these platforms. So you want
Got
to
it.
post
So
your content in multiple platforms.
more is better in this case.
Yeah, you're not spamming. I mean, maybe you are, but if you're creating content, valuable content, if you're adding value, you want to reach your people, your audience where they are. And many of them are, yeah, like on multiple platforms at the same time.
So Google and the other search engines, do they understand the um, individuals that are the experts in certain areas, and by having those experts as part of your content writing strategy, does it help the website that's putting out that content in terms of their um,
Yeah,
growth and authority and all of that?
absolutely, absolutely. And there was, just to understand, to fathom the scale of this. So there was a leak of Yandex's source code about a year or two ago. By the way, a big number of, or some number of Yandex's. So Yandex is the Russian search engine, like the
Right.
Russian Google version, and some of the developers there came from Google. Okay, it's a much smaller company than Google, but you can understand, or you can imagine that it's similar to Google in some ways. And the Yandex source code, when they revealed it, it had, they used, the number was 1920, give or take, different ranking factors. So they're looking at almost 2000 different ranking factors, and I'm quite sure that Google is looking at much more than that. And Google is trying to imitate us people. It's trying to the service and the product is for us people. Okay, so it wants to give you the best results. So if you now want to invest your money somewhere and you're looking for advice, what and I'm now going to give you advice, and I'm just, I don't know, and I know nothing about, I have no credentials, or nothing to show that I'm the right person to give you the advice, you will not listen to me. Okay, if I was a famous financial advisor, or somebody with like the right credentials, and um like that, I could show you that I'm the expert, then you may listen to me. And that's what Google is trying to imitate. That's what they're creating. So they definitely look at like who's the person who's creating the content, especially on YMYL topics, your money or your life topics. Okay, what to do with your money or your health, your life, etc. So if you're now, if you don't feel well, or if one of your relatives, God forbid, is sick, um, you're going to go and look for health related content, and it's going to be important for you that the person who created that content is a medical doctor or somebody from the medical profession, etc., you would not listen to me. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea. You better not listen
Right.
to me. Okay. So Google knows that as well. Okay. And social media algorithms, I mean, they go more with what's popular, but this also has to do with popularity in a way. Because if you find that information even on TikTok, then there is also good information on TikTok. You probably want to see who's the person who created it and do they have the credentials? Do they know what they're talking about? And that's
No, and
why you
I
can often see that it has to do also with being a celebrity. You can see that people that are famous, not just because they're like, I know, because they're a good actor, okay, because they may be famous, so they could be famous because they're Rihanna and they're great singers, so you want to see them, but they may be famous because of their expertise, okay, and then that's why people would watch them. So for example, if I made a video presenting a topic, I know, a political topic about the US, and Barack Obama would make the same video exactly like me, like exactly like me, I bet he's gonna get much more views than I do. Okay, because he's more famous, he's more of an authority, just a little bit more than I am. Okay, so joking, of course. So that has to. So also social media takes that into account, and so the level of expertise of the person presenting the content is super important.
yeah, and I think, obviously with their EEAT standard,
Yeah,
with the experience, expertise,
yeah,
authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, that strategy, plays into, surfacing the best content.
right.
And it's interesting. On a recent episode, we had a guest speaking about Google's knowledge graph, and
Hmm.
that I think plays a lot, into all of this as far as where they're
Sure.
heading. So
Yeah.
let me ask you, your solution is amazing where it's at right now. Are there some recent updates that you've released that your team is really proud of that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, so definitely we're updating it all the time, but I mean, I think the most important ones are around video creation, like really streamlining video creation to be able to publish, to create and publish authentic videos based on human experience and human knowledge at scale and at costs that companies can afford and can generate ROI based off of. Um, and another thing is everything that has to do with conversion optimization, conversion rate optimization. So we're building more and more tools to be able to, at the end of the day, we look at every piece of content as a separate campaign. And when you're doing organic marketing, and if you do it well, you maybe publish multiple pieces of content per day, even. That's what like big companies are doing, and we're enabling even smaller companies to do that. And then every piece of content is like a campaign, and then you want to optimize and maximize the profits from every piece of content. This and we've been launching more and more features around conversion rate optimization for content.
Makes a lot of sense. And as far as what's on your roadmap and where you're heading, are there any exciting things that you're working on that you can share with us?
Yeah, so like I said, it's most of these changes and in terms of how to create content and how to monetize content have happened, throughout 2023 and now in 2024. Um, Now we're working on more options of like testing and optimizing, automatically testing and optimizing conversion rates across all your website pages. So if you have a lot of content, you have a big website with, you can start with a small website and then we help you build more and more content and you end up with a website that has hundreds or thousands of pages, and we can automate conversion rate optimization across thousands of pages on your website, which is very, very cool.
Very nice. And
Yeah.
any final advice that you give to businesses that are looking to get their content strategy right for 2024 and beyond, and
Yeah.
what
So first of all,
what the
I
right
can tell
steps
them
are?
that Yeah, first of all, I can tell them that it is a difficult it is a difficult game. It's quite complex, and there's many things that can go wrong. Um, I would definitely try start by defining what type of company I am, and what type of content works for that company. I have a friend who has a chocolate factory, so his product is very, very visual. So Instagram is his channel. Okay, his products look amazing, and it's very nice to watch how he makes them and all that. Um, Whereas if you're a company that deals with, I don't know, things that have to do with health, blood pressure, etc., then it's more informational. So you should start there by identifying, really what types of content can work for you. Um, and then yeah, don't create. I say, like, also that don't create like cheap, boring content with AI. I think you're gonna pay a price for it. I think that's SEO suicide, I call it. um, and really find solutions to be able to produce authentic content, high quality content that provides value, and do it at scale. Because like right now, you need to create also a lot of content, so you need to find ways to do it at scale, to do it at the cost that you can afford. And of course, Intel is the right solution to do so. So you're
There you
welcome
go.
to reach out.
Great, and we'll leave a link in the show notes and all
Yeah,
of that. So I really appreciate your taking the time out to join us on the Software
yeah.
Spotlight today. I know our community is very interested in SEO and content, and understanding what the latest direction is in SEO and
Mhm.
content. So thank you for joining us. Coming up on our next episode, we have Brian Clayton. He's the founder of and CEO of GreenPal, an innovative online marketplace that seamlessly connects homeowners with lawn care professionals. With a vision to revolutionize the landscaping industry, Brian has built GreenPal from the ground up, creating a platform that streamlines the process of finding and booking reliable lawn services. So definitely bookmark that live stream for tomorrow. And also, coming up later in the day today, we actually have our webinar at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on human resources, which is entitled Elevating the Employee Experience. So be sure to join us for that. We'll have Team Taylor, Outforce AI, and On the Clock joining us at that webinar. And you can register at softwareoasis.com. Also, be sure to visit our website to access our free weekly software newsletter and sign up for our upcoming software webinar series. So, once again, Tom from Entail AI, thank you for joining us on the Software Spotlight today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me.